Yeah, I really like the inception parties. The layout and everything is great.
Yeah, I like their bolded headings.
The moderate party also did a great job.
Oh yeah, like how they increased the font a little bit. What is that?
It's a nice font. The progressive party is kind of hard to read, but I like the spacing. Yeah, it's nice.
3, 2.
Good morning. This is your wake-up call. I'm Kirsten Smith,
Reagan McMahon, Erica Wetzel,
Amanda Miller,
And Emily Kim.
Presidential election is quickly on its way. We just received the party platforms, so that will be our topic of discussion today. Kirsten, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Let's see. All right, environment. You know, when I was reading through the platforms, I saw, of course, everyone was pro-environment and protection and energy resources and things like that. I did notice though the Inception Party, they seem to focus more on protecting endangered species instead of talking about like global warming and things, which is like what the other parties were talking about, which it seems like, yeah, it's like most people when they think of environment, they think, you know, global warming and like what's going on with that. So I thought that was interesting. The moderate and the progressive parties both said that they want the United States to become energy independent. So I think it's like interesting to see how they want to focus on not having to rely on other countries to fix our energy problems and our environment problems.
So, Inception Party was the only one with animal rights and nobody else talks about that?
I mean, they did talk about animal rights, but specifically Inception Party was talking about the endangered species, which obviously is a problem right now in our country, and I thought that was, you know, cool how they were talking about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if now the other parties will pick up endangered animals as like a part of their platform.
Yeah, definitely.
Reagan, would you like to pick the next topic?
I'd love to, Erica. Military. That's interesting because the majority of the platforms chose to decrease the size of the military, whereas the Inception Party and the Moderate Party chose a little bit of a different approach. The Moderate Party chose to keep the military the same, and the Inception Party chose to enlarge the military.
The Inception sounds like the Exception Party.
Definitely. So, yeah. And their whole view on that is to keep us as the one and only superpower in the world and maintain that status. The Peace Party, actually, I thought it was interesting that they decided that they want to keep peace with every foreign nation. I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
Kind of
That
difficult.
would definitely be a difficult thing to do.
Yeah,
Especially with the problems in the Middle East we're having now.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see how they plan on
Keeping the peace.
Yeah.
Keeping
But
that.
going back to the how we're the superpower, do you guys think that's true? Like how America's holding
I mean, I don't know. China's getting some of our debt more and more.
Yeah, I mean, like right now,
Yeah.
I guess we would be, but who knows?
losing ground quickly. That's
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you, Reagan. Now we'll be right back after a quick weather break.
Thanks, Erica. On Friday, it's going to be partly cloudy and windy with a low of 36 and a high of 45. On Saturday, it's going to be a low of 32 and 42, and it's going to be it's the same, partly cloudy and windy. On Sunday, it's going to clear up a little bit, but it will be without some wind, but it'll get a little colder, being 28, and with a high of 39. And also, as a side note, the world's going to end.
Wow, thanks, Erin, for the weather update. Now, Amanda, would you like to pick the next topic?
Sure. Oh, federalism. The question whether to have a big or small government has been debated for years. It was interesting to see the split between the parties this year. The Peace, Inception, and Moderate parties wanted smaller government, while the Remedy and Progressive parties wanted bigger government.
Well, it's interesting that more of the parties want small government than large government. Emily, next topic?
Sure. Tax reform.
So the Peace Party actually said that they wanted to lower taxes, and but then they had a lot of social reform, so I don't know where they're going to get all the money from, because if they keep lowering the taxes, then there's no income.
That kind of like contradicts itself a little bit.
Yeah. And then the Inception Party, they wanted to higher the tax rates for the upper 2% of the class, and they wanted a lower tax for the lower class, but then there's nothing that's set on the middle class yet, so that's kind of vague out there.
Interesting to see what happens.
And the Remedy Party, they said the more you make, the more you'll pay, so that's like, I feel like that's way too broad, and like it doesn't really say how much, like if you make this amount, like I think they have to talk about that in more detail with their
Specific.
Yeah. And then the Moderate Party wants to raise taxes for the wealthiest, and the other classes keep the same, so it kind of goes along with the Peace Party a little bit, and the Inception Party. And then the Progressive Party wanted to gradually increase the tax rate for all the parties, so.
So they were like, basically every party had a completely different like tax plan. Like no one was really the same. Like the other topics, I feel like there were a lot of similarities between the parties, but this one's like they're kind of all over the board.
Yeah.
Shows how divided America is.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks Emily. Now here's Aaron with some more news.
Thank you, Erica. This week has been full of the candidates' acceptance speeches. After our short winter break, there will be a debate including all of the candidates. In other news, Daniel Inouye, the former President pro tempore, has died at 88 today. Not today. Recently. In tragic news, with the tragic Connecticut shooting, authorities are still looking into it. Back to you, Erica.
Oh, the Connecticut shooting, that was really tragic.
Yeah, did any of the candidates mention gun control?
Yeah, all parties actually had saying that they were pro-gun restrictions. They definitely want to make it harder for people to obtain guns and make more penalties, I guess, if you're caught with one. I'm not really sure the specifics, but it seems like they all are going towards that path.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. One of the more controversial issues that we haven't mentioned yet is abortion. Did anybody look at that?
Oh yeah, I was looking at the abortion. And 3 of the parties were actually pro-choice. The Peace Party and the Remedy Party were all pro-choice. And then the Progressive Party was pro-choice with restrictions. And then none of the parties were strictly pro-life, but the Inception Party and Moderate Party were pro-life with exceptions. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like that's all we have time for today. So join us next week.
This has been Kirsten Smith,
Reagan McMinn,
Erica Wetzel,
Amanda Miller.
And Emily Kim.
and this has been
your wake-up call.